all the players is, where were you when you heard the news that the game was going to be postponed? How did you hear it? And as a coach who's put so much time and effort into a game plan and getting ready to play, what was your first reaction?
So I was where the players were. We were all sitting there in pregame meal, getting ready to eat our pregame meal and go to walkthrough. And coach came in and made the announcement. And my heart just dropped. Kind of was waiting for him to come in and say, "No, I was just kidding." But as he continued to talk, you could see that it was very serious. And then I just kind of scanned the room to get the reaction of the players. Just extremely disappointed. Not so much because of the work that I put in. That's my job, and I expect to do that every single week. But just for the players, man, that's what they love to do, and they find out at 8:30 in the morning that they're not going to get to have an opportunity to do what they love.
Coach, it's Trevor Gross from CUTigers.com. What was the mood of the team like coming back to Clemson?
You said you broke up a little bit.
What was the mood of the team like coming back to Clemson?
I think early on, everyone was disappointed, kind of shocked. Your mind's racing. You're thinking about your family, especially as the players, their family members that have traveled, trying to communicate with them. So kind of in disbelief. And then as the day went on, we had an opportunity to kind of go back to our rooms and just decompress a little bit before we got on the bus. And when we got on the bus, you really couldn't tell that the guys were that upset, or they didn't show it. They just kind of said, "Hey, it is what it is. We can only control what we can control, and it's unfortunate we didn't get to play, but now we're just going to move on to the next opponent, which is Pitt."
Moving on to that next opponent, Coach.
All about motivation and trying to take up for your players. Did you appreciate the comments that Coach Sweeney had, Sunday night to the media that, he's going to take up for his team and his program and the protocols that they have?
Right. I didn't have a chance to hear word for word what Coach Sweeney said, because I was in the game planning for Pitt. But, Coach Sweeney, he knows what he's doing. He's the leader of our program. He's always going to defend our program. And we all know that every day we come to work, we put our trust in the medical staff to have the protocols in place. And from the beginning of August, when we started till now, just complete confidence in those guys. We're doing it the right way. So definitely understand, Coach Sweeney defending our program, defending the medical staff, defending the players. Because again, it's tough when you work, you put a lot into doing something that you love to do, and you try to do everything you can to follow the rules, to the T. You can see within the program, guys are here, they're not opting out. They believe in what we're doing. So just a little bit, frustrating, but I don't know all of the comments. And again, I try to stay off of social media, especially during the season, so I can stay focused on what I'm doing. But if I had to guess, everything that Coach Sweeney says, which he always does, is spot on. He's going to speak from the heart, and he's going to call it like he sees it.
Coach, moving on to Pittsburgh, you won't have Paris Ford to deal with, but Pat Narduzzi's defenses are always real tough. I guess he has no problem loading the box with 9 guys. I guess just like the previous 3 or 4 games, the running lanes inside the tackles will be few and far between.
Very good assessment there. The structurally, that's what they want to do. If you're going to have, even if you spread them out and you got a 5-man blocking surface, they're going to find a way to get 7. If you got a 6-man blocking surface, they're going to find a way to have 8. And they're going to force you to win one-on-one matchups and make the contested plays, and they're going to make you throw and catch versus man coverage. And so they're going to force you to throw, quote unquote, the low percentage throws, and see can you come down with those. They'll give those up in order to be able to stop the run. So definitely got to make sure we do a good job of trying to keep them honest. You got to stay balanced, the best you can. Force the run when you need to, but also understanding that the structure is built to stop the run. So you're going to have to do some things just to try and, supplement your run game. But more importantly, you're going to have to throw and catch and make those plays down the field.
Hey, Tony, this is Pete at AP. I know it's been a challenging year for everybody. What have you been called on maybe more to use in your coaching toolbox? Is it more a mental kind of keeping these guys in good mental shape, or is it just making sure practice is as consistent as everything so they have some sense of normalcy? And how have you handled some of this? Because this obviously is not normal.
Right. I'd say for me, it kind of took me back to some of my younger years, just with the uncertainty, growing up and the constant change. And that just gave me the confidence to, hey, just stay the course, continue to be consistent in who you are. You've been through situations like this where things weren't always, what you wanted them to be, but you found a way to make the most out of it. As it relates to the players, probably just more communicating the big picture, trying to get them to understand the big picture, because obviously they're getting fed information from all different places. So trying to be able to take from them the information that's floating around in their head and help them to channel it in the right direction, but then also more importantly to understand what was going on. So from a coaching standpoint, practice is going to be practice. Once we hit the practice field, there's no deviating from the plan, so to speak. I mean, that's going to be, we have Mental Monday, Tanoga Tuesday. We know what we're doing there. I think it's the time in between when you're interacting with the young men, just being able to make sure that they can process the best they can all the information that they're being fed.
Tony, have these guys handled it as well as maybe you thought they would? Are you surprised how well they've handled it? Have they handled it well?
I would say surprised and probably exceeded my expectations, just because I understand the world that they live in is constantly changing every day, even without everything that's going on with COVID. I mean, it's a challenge for them because they got social media, they have family members, they got friends. They live in an era where everybody self promotes, and now they're part of a program that it's all about the team, and you got to sacrifice some of your personal goals. So that was already tough, and then you throw on top of that all the issues with COVID and a lot of things that they have to adhere to, they don't understand. And sometimes as coaches, you don't quite fully understand, but you're trusting that the people that are making the decisions, are making the decisions for the greater good. Definitely the guys have handled it well. We're sitting here, you're talking about a 7-1 football team, and now going through this adversity. One thing I know about this program is we know how to respond. So definitely it's refreshing to see, the actual core values of the program, in my opinion, come to the forefront, as we go through these challenging times, because you're seeing, how the young men are responding. You look at Trevor and Rancher early in the season, their leadership. Then you also look at the team's ability to rally around themselves when Trevor goes out. So you're starting to see just the real core values of this program, which I think is special. And a lot of times we talk about it as coaches, but unless you're internally in this building every single day, sometimes it may just be coaches speak to you guys. But for us, we're excited to see daily how the core values of our program are being able to be displayed.
I mean, that must be good for you and all the coaches to see how, yes, these core values we talk about are in place and we've instilled it and we're kind of making a difference.
At the end of the day, I can speak personally for myself. I can't speak for every other coach, but I would say that there's some sentiment about what I'm about to say. But as a coach, I feel like I'm going to be judged way beyond the plays that I call, the wins that I'm a part of, the losses that I'm a part of. I'm going to be judged based off of the interactions with the young men. So Coach Sweeney likes to say is the heart and souls. I truly believe that that's how I'm going to be judged. So when you can let that be displayed for the world to see, I think it just gives you encouragement as a coach, and it validates everything that you're doing, because a lot of times as a coach, you don't really see the fruits of your labor until several years have passed. When a young man comes up to you and says, man, I want you to meet my wife. These are my kids. This is what I'm doing with my life. Then you can tangibly say, okay, now it's coming to fruition. But to see it unfold, daily, in the lives of the young men that you're actually touching at this time is pretty special.
Thanks.
Hey, Tony, it's Josh from the Post and Courier. If you guys were to have to fly back to Tallahassee, do you think it'd be difficult or maybe kind of easy to get the players ready to play again, make that trip from a mental standpoint?
I think these players, they just want to play. It doesn't matter. And obviously there'll be time between, that decision being made. And definitely that's not my decision. But if they say that's what we got to do, we're going to put together the best plan and we will have our guys ready to play. I think these guys are at a point in the season, they believe in the process of the season. And this is a championship phase. We talk all the time about people remember what you do in November. So I think these guys are focused in on not necessarily who they're playing, where they're playing, but having an opportunity to play. And they've been off now. For I guess this would be 3 weeks now. They haven't played in 3 weeks. I know Trevor hasn't played in 4 weeks. Man, these guys are just excited to play. So I think all that other stuff, will be out the window, if that were to be the situation later on down the road.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor again. Pittsburgh leads the nation in both sacks and tackles lost. I guess pass protection, especially with Travis and the other backs, is going to be as important as ever.
No doubt, because if they're playing their base defense, obviously they're going to rush for, and their ends are as good as anybody in the country. I think they're very highly rated on the NFL boards. I think they're up there at the top of the list in terms of sacks in the country. They play hard. They're very, very well coached. And then when they're not playing their base defense, they want to get some pressure, man. They're going to rush 6. And so it's going to be a situation where the backs are going to be critical, not just the backs, but the quarterback being able to identify and make sure that structurally we have our things called in the right direction so we can anticipate and pick up the pressure. So, man, it's going to be critical all the way across the board. And even the tight ends, if we have to get into some of those play action protections that we carry, they're going to be critical too. So, man, they do a great job. And again, shout out to their coaches, very well coached, man. The young men play hard. And because they don't do a ton on defense, they're really, really good at what they do, which I think allows them to be able to get pressure with 4. And then when they do decide in certain situations to bring the blitz, they're very effective at getting home with the blitz because their players know exactly what they're trying to get accomplished.
Tony, it's Pete again. I apologize if you've been asked this already, but I know you've had a crazy couple of days. Was it a little weird coming to the office and not turning on South Carolina film? Because we're talking Thanksgiving, it's that week. Is it a little strange, or is it just part of 2020?
That finally came up today because Thanksgiving and we're kind of programmed. But to be honest with you, really hadn't thought about it because this year has been completely different and everything is totally different. So you're kind of used to the abnormal, so to speak. So really haven't given it much thought about that. Obviously, you hate not being able to play those guys because you look forward to that game. You know what it means to the state. You know what it means to the players. But certainly understand the circumstances and why we're not playing that game. But really for us, the crazy thing was coming in on a Sunday and not having a game to put to bed, before you move on to Pitt. So it was kind of different, just going straight on to Pitt. But a benefit as well because it gives us a couple more hours of preparation.